Today's story is about that a man, armed with a knife, hijacked a bus carrying 22 people in Japan, and stabbed 3 women passengers. One of them died. On May 3, 2000 in the afternoon, a woman hobbled into a police station in Yamaguchi Prefecture, Japan. She had visible wounds that seemed to be from a fall along with minor bruises on her body. In a desperate voice, she approached the police officers and said, "Please help me. A bus has been hijacked." That day at around 12:56 p.m., people boarded the number 8544 bus at an express bus terminal in Shiga Prefecture. The bus's destination was Nishitetsu Tenjin Center and it departed with a total of 22 passengers. Around 1:35 p.m., as the bus approached the Dazaifu interchange in Fukuoka, a man inside the bus suddenly stood up. He quietly approached the driver and instructed him to drive eastward instead of heading to Dazaifu interchange. The man was holding a knife and the frightened driver complied, steering the bus in the instructed direction. The man turned around and warned the passengers that their destination was no longer Nishitetsu Tenjin Center, but would be the hell. Initially bewildered, the passengers were shocked upon seeing the man with the knife. The hijacker first took away their phones and belongings, placing them in a corner. He then ordered the women to move to the front seats and the men to the back seats. He also closed the curtain on all the windows to prevent anyone from seeing what was happening inside. Those who were slow to comply or refused his orders were slightly injured by the knife. Unlike financial institutions or airplanes, the bus lacked devices or manuals to discreetly alert outsiders in case of an emergency. After about 20 minutes, as the bus approached the interchange, one woman managed to open a window and jumped out. Though she injured her leg, she escaped and later reported the incident to the police. The hijacker grew increasingly furious and believed that a clear example was needed to prevent further escape attempts. He then brought one woman to the front, and warning that if anyone else tried to escape, the chosen woman would be killed. Around that time, the bus center realized that the express bus had not arrived at its scheduled time. Despite attempting to contact the bus driver multiple times, there was no response. The bus center reported the situation to the police. The highway patrol immediately dispatched officers and made every effort to locate the bus. Not long after, the bus was expected to pass near the Yamaguchi junction and the police arranged cars to block the entrance. As the express bus entered the blocked road, the hijacker was taken aback by the sight of the blocked cars. He tried to force the driver to push the cars aside, but the bus could only slow down. Meanwhile, a male passenger leaned out of the bus window and was rescued by the police. A lot of reporters arrived at the scene upon hearing about the incident, and broadcasted the live rescue of the passenger on TV. Seeing this, the hijacker injured one of the remaining hostages with a knife. He threatened the police, stating that he would kill more hostages if they did not clear the road. Concerned for the hostages' safety, the police lifted the blockade. At around 4:20 p.m., the bus accelerated again towards Hiroshima and released all male hostages near a tunnel. The hijacker believed that the men might become a threat to him when he got tired. As the men exited the bus, the hijacker held a knife to the neck of a 6-year-old girl, urging the others to leave quickly. The bus then entered a parking lot and stopped for several hours. During the standoff, the police proposed an offer to release 3 severely injured hostages in exchange for the items the hijacker needed. The hijacker demanded a gun and a bulletproof vest, which the police provided. After receiving the items, he released the 3 hostages. 2 were immediately taken to the hospital, but 1 had already died due to excessive bleeding. This became the first bus hijacking incident in Japan, where a hostage died. After the standoff continued, the bus departed again and stopped at a rest area. The hijacker's family arrived at the scene to persuade him, but their efforts were in vain. Negotiations with the hijacker for the release of the hostages continued, and he released 1 hostage in exchange for fuel, and 2 more in exchange for food and blankets. At this point, there were 9 passengers left on the bus. After 15.5 hours, the hijacker still held the 6-year-old girl as a hostage to prevent the police from entering. At that moment, 15 members of the Special Assault Team began to move. The SAT team decided on the exact moment when the hijacker would separate from the girl, and the police negotiating with him would throw a glove as a signal. When the hijacker looked away, the police dropped the glove and the SAT team swiftly entered the bus using flash grenades and finally arrested him. The hijacker turned out to be a young 17-year-old high school student named Seiichi Taniguchi. People were shocked that a 17-year-old high school student committed such a terrible crime. In middle school, Taniguchi was an excellent student but faced bullying from his peers, leading him to vent his frustration on his family. Then, in January 1998, with high school entrance exams approaching, he took a foolish challenge to jump from a high staircase due to provocation from friends. Unfortunately, he landed badly and suffered a fractured lumbar, leading to a 2-month hospitalization. Despite passing the entrance exam to a prestigious high school while hospitalized, Taniguchi soon dropped out due to difficulties adjusting to school life and frequent absences. Afterward, he became immersed in an inappropriate online community called 2CH. During a police investigation, Taniguchi confessed to posting threats of a crime on the 2CH community site. His involvement in the community worsened his violent tendencies towards his family, kicking his own dog and frequently resorting to violence against his younger sister. At one point, his mother searched his room and found several dangerous weapons. Concerned for safety, his parents sought help from a renowned psychiatrist and arranged for him to be hospitalized in a psychiatric hospital on March 5, 2000. Although he was furious with his parents for the decision, Taniguchi exhibited a polite and composed demeanor once hospitalized. Seeing signs of improvement, the doctor granted him permission to go outside. However, during his outings, Taniguchi's mind was filled with thoughts of murder. During one of his visits to the 2CH community site, he came across a story about a high school student who committed murder. He praised the student and expressed a desire to be like him in his notes. Unaware of this, the doctor allowed him to go out again. He planned to commit indiscriminate murders against the friends who bullied him during middle school, but the long holiday period meant the school was closed. Then, while looking for a place where many people gathered, he thought of an express bus and changed his plan to hijack the bus. On the day of the crime, he lied to his parents, saying he would ride a bicycle in the park, but he concealed a knife in his bag, boarded the express bus, and committed this brutal crime. After his arrest, Taniguchi faced trial and was incarcerated at the Kyoto Medical Juvenile Training Center, where he received a rehabilitation program for 5 years and 4 months. 1 year after the incident, Taniguchi's parents were ordered to pay compensation to the 22 victims. They were asked to compensate the families of the deceased with 5.5 million yen, the seriously injured with 3.5 million yen, and the other victims with amounts ranging from 200,000 yen to 400,000 yen. As a result of this incident, the Japan Bus Association developed a unified response manual for bus hijackings, and improved various emergency communication systems. They equipped vehicles with the necessary measures and installed emergency signaling lights to detect any abnormal situation from outside the bus.